Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, Touring with Carly. If you're new here, then we're a family of four who have moved everything into our tourer caravan and hit the road to travel around Europe with our two children and our dog in tow. Our first stop on this incredible journey around Europe was Normandy in France. This is a place filled with history, stories, and unforgettable experiences. As we're homeschooling our children whilst travelling, we wanted to make learning come alive beyond the pages of a textbook. So we thought, what a better place to start than the site of the historic D-Day landings. Over the past few days, we explored the famous beaches, visited fantastic museums, and immersed ourselves in the stories of the brave men and women who were a part of this pivotal moment in history. What made it even more special was how hands on the experience was. The children weren't just reading about history, they were standing where it happened, seeing artifacts up close, and gaining a real understanding of the events that shaped the world we live in today. They absolutely loved exploring the museums, walking along the beaches, and discovering the personal stories behind the history. It was educational, moving, and inspiring all at the same time. So join us as we take you along on our Normandy adventures, sharing the places we visited, the lessons we learned, and the memories we gained as a family. Let's get started.
So it all started with a really early start for us in the morning, just as the sun was coming up. Luckily, we crashed down the camping area the night before, hooked up, and just left the legs. So it was quick and easy in the morning. Just get the legs up, and off we went. Beautiful sunrise in the morning, and then the 20 minutes down to the ferry port itself. The bit that was really concerning me was a twofold: was A, getting through with the caravan, and B, getting through with the dog, having never done either. um, no problem through security. When we went through the check-in, all they did was scan Pepper's microchip. It confirmed the serial number with the paperwork. We got flagged straight through. We even made it to the earlier ferry, which is ideal. Really straightforward process. We just needed to make sure she's got an in-date rabies jab and an animal health certificate. Got flagged straight onto the next ferry. This is the bit I was a bit nervous about with the caravan. Straight up onto the ramp, but no problems at all. And then we went into the pet lounge. Really good catering. There was areas outside for the dog. There was like a cafe area inside. They even had vending machines for dog treats, which is brilliant. The kids loved sharing this with the dog as well. So yeah, it was really straightforward and something I don't know what I was worried about really. So we left Dover. Absolutely glorious day, and it was Darcy's first time on a boat. She was a bit anxious about it, but as soon as she started playing with all the toys and the activities they had set up for the kids, she had a great time as well. Really enjoyed the boat trip. Um, I prefer the ferry rather than the tunnel. It just gives, as a driver, it gives you an hour off or hour and a half off. You can go and get a coffee. You can go and stretch your legs, which you can't really do on the train. It just breaks that journey up a bit more. But the sail was absolutely perfect. There was barely a ripple in the sea. It was an absolute pond. And yeah, I don't know what I was so worried about beforehand. So the next worry, having got the caravan all up the ramp, is getting back off. But it was really straightforward. Followed the lanes, pulled over because we needed to find where the customs was. Because we were having onward travel with our pet, once we've got through France, we had to get customs to countersign her paperwork. The directions was given from the vets in Dover wasn't really accurate, so did a quick bit of Google searching. Finally managed to get back out of traffic, and as you can see, you follow the road round, following the exit signs. Just before you do so, there's a customs bay, so we just pulled into there. Abby went in and spoke to the customs. They spoke perfect English. They're used to dealing with this. So they went through her paperwork. They come out and checked Pepper, looked her over, checked, scanned her microchip. Again, making sure all the paperwork married up. It was only when they were all happy. It all got countersigned, stamped, and put on the computer. So we were good to go through traveling outside of France for the next stage of our European tour. It was really easy. once we had actually found it, it was finding it was the difficult bit. But as you can see from the video, as long as you stick to the main exit signs, and as soon as you see the customs, there's plenty of pulling in spaces to do, to stop and get the dogs squared away. So then just follow it through. You don't need to think about which side of the road to drive, because as you can see, if you've not driven out there before, it picks up straight away. So this is us pulling up into our campsite for the first stop, which is a lovely little campsite about 15 minutes outside of Bayeux, right in the countryside, really quiet, really peaceful. Just checking in, getting all the details sorted out, and they're confirming who's in the party. You can see to the right hand side there's a swimming pool. It's covered over during bad weather or during the evenings, and the centre part pulls out to open it up into an outdoor swimming pool on sunny days. Really, really lovely pictures. Loads of space, electric and water straight on the front door. And it was a really little lovely setup. We had the air conditioning machine, the outside fridge going. The kids had plenty to play with. Went shopping. Carrefour was an experience. We've been to the Spanish one, but never the French one. And the size of the food, you can see there, the cheese was absolutely phenomenal. The bit that scared us a little bit was the robot vacuum cleaner that was creeping up behind us. Only in France. I've never seen anything like it in the UK or indeed Spain. Once having stocked up on cheese and wine, it was back to the caravan to watch the football. Great setup. So day one, we headed off to Arromanches, which is a lovely little seaside town north of Bayeux. Really charming little towns full of lots of memorabilia, lots to do and see, lots of lovely food and drinks, which was great timing because it was our 5th wedding anniversary. So we headed to an amazing little restaurant for lunch. It was really quite a blowy day. It's like being back on the beach, seaside resorts back in the UK, but it's lovely to see all the signposts in the area, remembering local soldiers and British soldiers that had fought and been stars of D-Day. And it's a really quaint little town. They've got lovely memorials. They've got bits and pieces to see and do. Lots of information to read up on the kids. And obviously Winston Churchill's playing a vital role. This is the restaurant. Kids obviously getting stuck into their favourite food, mussels. That's my escargot to start with. Something Henry decided to try as well and thought it was absolutely delicious. So again, it's so good seeing the kids eating and drinking lots of different things they wouldn't do normally. And then it was back to the caravan set up for the evening. Absolutely beautiful sunsets. So day two, we headed to near Omaha Beach to the Overlord Museum and to the American Memorial and Cemetery that's there. The Overlord Museum was fantastic, really interactive with the kids, lots to see and do, lots of models, and lots of special effects as well, which was brilliant. Kids loved it. A couple of little bits made them jump with explosions and noises in the background, but they really got to grips with understanding what life was like for the French people in the area under German occupation. For me, it was really special seeing Henry and Darcy interacting with the displays there, and the museum is set out really well and engaging. Military discount as a veteran, it was in for free, and my wife and the two kids, I think between them it comes to about €12. So it's a cheap day out. Great to see all the exhibits that they have there, really well laid out, and it follows the timeline through, as you can see from the videos. The displays also then go on the outside as well, so the kids can walk around and look at a lot of the tanks they've got in the area, some of the bunkers and some of the bridges, which is really good. Again, having the kids being able to get hands on and actually experiencing some of the things that they could see and touch from that period.
Wave.
From here, we went to the American cemetery, where just over 9,500 US service personnel that died during the landings are buried. It overlooks the Omaha Beach, and it's a really, really respectful setup. Its views are amazing, and it's run by the American government that looks after their veterans' war graves. There's lots of information on what happened on the day, and then the actual cemetery is laid out really well. Was there as someone was just laying a wreath, which they had a little parade in there, started playing taps across the tannoy system, and just everyone respectfully just come to a stop and just remain silent for it. But whichever angle you can see, these crosses are amazing. They all line up, and they all have their details facing west, along as well as the eagles on top of the statues facing west, back to America. Not just Christian, obviously you've got Jewish soldiers that died as well. So day number 3 had us moving further over to up the coast. We went to the Normandy Victory Museum. Again, really, really well set out to engage with the younger kids. You can see there our two can't wait to get inside. Everything is done with period equipment, that you can see real actual vehicles that were used there and date back to the Second World War, as well as mock-ups showing you what the towns looked like at the time. Again, I got in for free with military discount. There's Henry playing with a Second World War gun. They had a landing craft, which was a bit too much for Darcy, with the speakers kicking off and making a bit of loud noises. But it was really well done. Henry really enjoyed it. Darcy, at this point, can now understand that these are just dummies. They're mannequins. They're not real people. Something we'll get onto later on as it come back to bite us. But it's all set up really well. They've got light tricks. So as you're walking around, you trip the light, and different parts of the setup come to life. There was a machine gun battle going on between the Americans and the Germans across the path you're walking along. As you see here, you go through the light trip and it all starts kicking off. The kids thought it was great fun, kept running up and down, and tripping it so it goes off again. But again, really engaging and very, very well put together museum. It's got so much stuff laid out that the kids had a whale of a time, and it was really good watching them learning by experiencing things firsthand rather than just reading it in books. As Ab said at the start of the video, it's really good to see them learning and asking questions all the time, which shows how keen that they were. To cool the barrel down, it's got this tank of water that goes around the barrel.
Yeah, we're not very good.
As you go around, it's also got small pictures of people that served at the time, and photos of them in more recent years telling their stories in multiple languages. All of the displays, the audio displays, you can select languages on that, and you can read through. There's QR codes on every stand to go through the actual stories in whichever language you want as well. So it's good seeing the different sides. Obviously, the Germans and the French, that they were just doing the job. They had their own medic crews as well, and they had a Willys Jeep that the kids thought was absolutely brilliant. They jumping aboard, hats on, thinking that they're there, driving it at the time was fantastic. They both had massive smiles on their faces, and then changed over. So after the Victory Museum, we went to the village of Saint Mary Glisse. probably not pronounced properly, but it's featured in many films, including The Longest Day and Band of Brothers, where the airborne of the American 82nd Division parachuted into the area, and one of their parachute troopers, a guy called John Steele, his parachute snagged up on the church steeple. The Germans below him shot up. He got shot in the foot and injured, but he stayed there as still as possible until his comrades had taken the town and they could get rescued down to get him back down to the ground. Since then, from the church, there is now a paratrooper dummy still connected to his parachute, which hangs off of the church. Something Darcy really couldn't get her head round. Kept asking questions like, why don't they let him get him down so he can go home, Daddy? Or what does he do? Do they take food up to him? She just couldn't get her head round that it is just a dummy. So yeah, it's quite a funny little story with that one. But it's a lovely little town, lots of places to eat and drink, restaurants, museums. There's a big airborne museum in the town. Some great places to get like baguettes, sandwiches, pastries, and just have a pint and enjoy the town really. So one of the big things we wanted to do with the kids is to experience life in the various regions that we're going to. So took the challenge on and replicated to the best of my ability a local famous dish called Normandy chicken, poulet de Normandy, which is chicken done with mustard, apple cider, apple brandy, and cream. It was absolutely delicious. You can mix it with whatever you want. We just used it with bread and used big chunks of local fresh baguette to mop it all up with. So, on the recommendation of our friends Margaret and Alan, after a fantastic barbecue, they recommended that we go to Bayeux, as there was a medieval and Gothic weekend going on. So we headed up. First thing we come across on the roundabout, they'd even done topiary with in the shape of horses being ridden by knights, all done in topiary, which is absolutely brilliant. We had a fantastic day. It was really ad hoc. Didn't know what I was expecting. It had the most beautiful church. It was huge. Went round with the kids. We took some amazing photos of some beautiful stained glass windows, and the area itself was absolutely fantastic. It was surrounded by lots of different stalls, people dressed up in medieval, knights, ladies in waiting, and some other scary creatures. There was stands selling everything from drinking horns to spoons to medieval equipment, toy bows and arrows and swords for the kids, jousting equipment, and there was such an array of food. It was amazing. The smells coming through the streets and all the little stalls were absolutely fantastic. So we divulged into that a bit and had some really nice food. Kids sat down. They have to have crepes everywhere they go now. They're a massive fan of them. But yeah, really, really spontaneous. Didn't know anything about it. Rocked up and had an amazing day. And the city of Bayeux is absolutely stunning. A lot more famous than just its tapestry. After a hot, sweaty day in Bayeux, we all decided we wanted to go for a swim. And because it's not getting dark here till about 10 o'clock and it was still lovely and warm, we headed off to Omaha Beach. Had a cracking little snack in there. Kids getting stuck into their muscles yet again. Really nice little bar on the seafront. And then we went off into the sea, played in the sand for ages. We went paddling. Well, me and Abby went paddling. The kids went swimming. And it was surreal. Just looking back at it, just looked like a seaside holiday resort. But then you stand in the water, looking back at the beach, and you just think about what sights that beach has seen with the D-Day landings and the terrified people that was on that beach that day. So day 5 took us to Pegasus Bridge, one close to my heart. for those of you who don't know, on the 6th of June 1944, some of the opening action of the Normandy landings was conducted by the 2nd Battalion of the Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire Light Infantry, known as the Ox and Bucks. They jumped onto the back of gliders. They were pulled up into the air and dropped off in the middle of the night, had the cables disconnected. And back in the days before GPS and sat nav and pinpoint accuracy, they landed their gliders right onto the Bonneville Bridge and its neighbouring bridge, Ranavale. From here, their mission was to take and hold the bridge until relieved, stopping the Germans cutting off the advancing parties from D-Day. It was there they held and successfully held the bridge until they were relieved later on by Lord Luffett's commandos. So both myself as an instructor a couple of years ago and my wife when she was a cadet have done the Pegasus tour with the cadet force. It's a special place to the county, and it's great to see how many people turn up each year in June to remember those that can't make it anymore, that have since fallen or fell in action at the time. See my own kids walking over the bridge, the original bridge, which is now in the museum, was something that really stirred inside. It was amazing. And then finally, day 6, we had a chill out day, just around the camp. Time to square away some of our admin in the caravan, catch up on some washing, and just have a chilled one. The kids had done so well all week. We'd covered so many kilometres walking around museums, around beaches, around over bridges. They were just exhausted. So we caught up on homework. Kids are doing homeschooling whilst we're away, so they had to catch up a lot on the paperwork of documenting everything that they've seen and done over the last week. And then we all had a nice chilled out afternoon in the pool. Amazing pool, really lovely temperature. The kids, their swimming confidence is coming so well. It's great. And that was a wrap.
You're going to do that on interview.
Hello. Hello.
So how much you enjoyed your holiday?
So much. This holiday has been the world's best holiday we've ever been, except for Haven and Parkview Resorts. Yeah. But,
So
yeah.
what was your best bit?
The best bit was have to be the play park and the swimming pool. It was the best. But some kids are part of this holiday and they live very, very close to us. And I've got their names.
Margaret and Helen.
Yeah. We went to Margaret and Alan's house 2 days ago, and it was really fun. So that was kind of the best trip of the holiday, and we saw like loads and loads of museums. And today we even went to Pegasus Bridge to see the old Pegasus Bridge. But yeah, it's been the best holiday in the world.
Have you learnt lots about World War II?
Yeah, I've learnt like so much about World War II.
What about you, Darcy? What's your best bit?
I don't know.
You don't know? It's all good, was it? Did you like the food? What was your favourite food?
The mussels.
Mussels.
Yeah, the mussels are absolute.
Très bien.
Yeah. Whatever that means.
Very good in French.
Yeah. Très bien. Very good in French. So yeah, catch you later. Bye.
So that was it, guys. First week in France, down in Normandy. Really enjoyable week. Hard work, especially with the heat, and covering a lot of the aspects we wanted to go to, the beaches, the museums, etc., as you've seen. But really enjoyable seeing the kids' reactions to the experiences they saw. really taking on board some of the aspects of the Second World War that Normandy was so famous for. So after that, we've travelled south, heading towards Bordeaux, and stay tuned for next week to see what we got up to this week. Enjoy. Take care.